Okay. Welcome back to the Sandy Hahn podcast, episode 5. Hello, all you little fuckers. And I mean it as a term of endearment.
To who?
mean it as a term of endearment. It's just something I say all the time. Walk into a bar or walk in a room, I just go, "What's up, fuckers?"
You've never said that to me. You say what's up, bitch.
Yes. A lot of others. So I have respect for you. So where I got that from was a movie called The Change Up with Ryan Reynolds and Jason Bateman. One of the absolute funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. I haven't watched it a ton, so go check that out. Again, Ryan Reynolds, Jason Bateman. There's also Leslie Mann and Olivia Wilde, who were incredibly great actresses who are also smoking hot, and you get to see some nudity. So that'll get you to watch it. So just a few things before we bring Tonya in. I wanted to talk about the last week. Even last night, well, I've had some really good days, having more good days than bad days. I'm still giving a very stark reminder of this disease, and I have a long way to go, but I know I'll get there. I'm not giving up. But, last night it was only about an hour and a half, and just hit me about, 5:36 till about 7, where I actually had to go. Didn't feel good. I had to go lay down in bed for an hour, a little over an hour, and just meditate. And it helps. It's really amazing. I felt better. I got up and got some food. And then one other day, last Tuesday night, Wednesday, I felt really good. Monday, worked out with Tonya. Tuesday, same thing. And then I'm not really sure what happened, but that night was maybe the worst one of my life, which is saying a lot because a lot of other shitty times. But that night, I had taken gummies and sleeping pills like I do every night, but I needed to do those when I'm actually in bed. I waited till I go to bed, and I ended up basically trying to go to the bathroom. Sat in bed, tried to go to the bathroom, and I couldn't walk, so I crawled into the bathroom, and then I just collapsed, and I couldn't move. And I basically spent the night on the bathroom floor. My wife came in and put a pillow under my head and kept checking on me, and she even asked if she needed to call an ambulance or 911, and I tried to say yes. I don't know what came out, just from a groan, but I couldn't move. And then I basically started sleeping and snoring, so she figured, okay, just put pillow blankets over me. But I'll move on from that. Just kind of want to let you know, there's still times, as good as I feel like right now, again, because of this podcast, I still struggle a lot. But again, we're going to keep it upbeat and funny. So, one last thing. The responses I get are just amazing from a lot of people that I haven't talked to in a long, long time. And I want to try and respond to them anywhere else. So we're going to set up, as I mentioned before, several social media accounts. But I know a lot of people don't have that, so we're also going to do a website. So for any questions or comments, we'd love to hear them. And I've set up an email, thesandyhahnpodcast@gmail.com. So if anyone wants to say anything, comments, questions, tell me to go fuck myself, I'm okay with it. Go for it. So, here's Tonya.
That's what people are going to do, Sandy. They'll
Yes.
tell you to fuck yourself. That's what they're going to do.
A lot of people do. It's okay. So, there she is, the one and only Tonya Watkins. She is amazing. She's helping me save my life.
Oh, thanks, Sandy.
she's amazing. So I go see her.
5 days a week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually at 1 o'clock because I have trouble getting up in the morning. Like this morning, I got here at 11.
Yeah, today was a big day, and I told him he couldn't get effed up last night. I said, "No
Yes.
getting effed up. You got to be up."
You can say fuck.
I know, but my kids are going to listen to this. I can't. I can only. Come on.
He's 18. They've seen
I
rated
know.
R. They've seen rated R movies.
That's true. I know.
Believe me.
I know. Oh, they've heard worse.
I'm
in the
sure
house.
they've seen worse than rated R
I know.
movies.
It's true. You're right.
They're young boys. So.
Well, I've been training Sandy 5 years prior to his illness. He was coming just to try to lose some weight, get in better shape. And anybody who knows Sandy, you meet him and love him. And we got along. We bonded from the beginning. But I didn't think he'd commit really to working out. So he started coming once, twice a week and was fine. And then kept coming, building the relationship. And we would always do my blocks 3/4 of a mile. So we do the block. And if it's nice out, Sandy still does the block. And we still go out and we walk. And he started kind of falling a little bit. So this was prior to the prognosis and diagnosis. And I'm like, "Are you effed up from the night before? Are you drunk?" I'm like, "I don't, what's going on?" And he's like, "I don't know,
And I wasn't. I never.
And he wasn't. No, he wasn't drunk. But
never come.
no,
to
he's.
see
Oh
you
no, I will say this:
drunk or high.
Or high. Oh
and
no,
I know some other people have.
I'd be pissed. No, he knows there's no drugs or drinking prior to coming. So he would come but he'd do the block, and I'm like, God, this is kind of bizarre. So still working out, still exercising. Then, all of a sudden we're like, you should go see the neurologist, go to the doctor and get there's something, this isn't right. So he did. He got the diagnosis, and I'll be honest, I had no clue to what it even was. I've never heard of this illness, never. And I train nurse practitioners, and, they didn't even know what it was. So I read about it, which was first mistake on the internet, and I'm like, holy crap, this is not good.
It's bad.
So bad, and it was, upsetting. Him and I have developed a close bond, and I was like, well, we're going to make the best of this. So I know nothing about this illness, and I train people, knee replacement, hip, all kinds of issues and different things. So I look it up, and I made the mistake of looking up these MSA videos. So I look up the videos, and
Pathetic.
pathetic is an understatement, and they're hand-holding, and, oh, you can do this. And I'm like, oh, F this. He's not doing this. I'm like, so I show him the video. I said, have you looked at this? And he said, no. And so I show him the video, and he's like, no wonder these people die. And I'm like, your baby, I don't baby him. I'm like, this is insanity. I said, well, we'll just bump up the workouts, and you're going to do your hard workouts. I mean, to this day, Sandy sits. I do it in my house. I've been doing this 25 years. Do it in my house. He does sit stand, like basic. We sit on a step. He holds a 40-pound medicine ball, stands up, sits down, stuff that my healthy people can't do. So he's still doing it, and it's still amazing to this day. And he's still walking. I tell him he has the cane, and I said, you'll crawl around my block before you'll use that cane. So he comes 5 days a week now.
First time I used it, the only time
I know,
because
of the snow.
And that's snow.
Yeah, the ice and snow, he's allowed to use it any other time. I'm like, you're not using this. But when Sandy started coming to the house, he'd never really worked out with the trainer, and he comes to my house, and I always tell him, bring a water bottle, bring a towel. So this guy shows up with a beach towel. So I'm like, what is this? And he's like, you said to bring a towel. And I'm like, I didn't say to bring a towel that's as big as the two of us. So he brings this huge ass towel, and I'm like, oh my God, this is the funniest thing. So his wife, for Christmas, they got him sets of, workout towels. So he gets these sets of workout towels, and then if Sandy has talked about it, he's kind of a slob. So he manages to lose these workout towels. So now my house has become a paper towel dispensary for him. So I think I go through a roll of paper towels every other day with him, asking for the paper towels.
I'll bring some.
Yeah, and then you look in his car, and my paper towels are thrown throughout the back seat and everywhere else.
It's a disaster.
Yeah, so it's a disaster. So we've been doing this, 5 years now that he's been coming, and he's increased the workouts, and
every day.
Every day. And he does we do a little stretching routine along with where, funny thing is, so I push on his back, and he does some just to get a little deeper into his stretches. And in my house, I have steps you sit on, but I have a curtain separating because, again, this is in my home. So my kids are usually in the kitchen or in the other room. And when Sandy, which at some point we will do these stretches, when I push on him, he's groaning like I am killing him. So my kids are like, what's going on in that room with that man? What is he doing in there? So he, and he makes these
Is he
noises.
okay? Is he okay?
Yeah, they're like, are you hurting him? And I'm like, no, I'm not hurting him. He's doing his stretches. So when he first started coming and he couldn't do, I said, hey, with this illness, stretching's a big, you need to be loose in your muscles, whatever.
It's amazing.
So, and it helps him, and he does it all day long. Morning, we do it in our afternoon, and then he does it again in the evening. So he starts coming, and he's like, I said, let me see if you could touch your toes. So he sits on the ground, and he's to your knees maybe, right? If that,
Barely.
who knows? So he's like, can anybody touch their toes? And I'm like, so I get on the ground, and I immediately touch my toes, and he's like, oh my God, people can do this. So now Sandy is able on his
Now
own.
he can do it.
Now he can do it on his
my
own.
own.
He does. So I always tell him when he takes if he goes to Florida, if he goes on these trips, and I'm like, if you come back and you can't still do this, I know you're not doing anything when you are gone. So it's become routine.
She can tell when I
yes.
go away for a month, which is
that was terrible.
a little too long because I do stretch and I try and walk, but it's not the same. It's just not the same when I'm working out with Tonya because she pushes me. And when I'm by myself, I don't think anybody else. That's why if you need a trainer, this
thanks,
is
Sandy.
your lady. And we're going to also put on the website and social media she has her own website. Put a link to that so you can
No wimps,
start training with her. Yes.
right?
No
No wimps.
no pussies.
Yeah.
Just,
People want their ass beat. No, I'm kidding. I don't. You know that. I know it's hard, but I'm supportive of all types of people.
But when it happens, again, physically it's wonderful, but how you feel mentally is maybe 10 times better. And a lot of days
you come
I couldn't get
sometimes
up,
like shit. Yeah.
and I would not be feeling good. But I forced myself to go, and then I did it, and then afterwards I'm like, oh. The release of endorphins, I guess. I don't know what it is. But you just feel so good that you did it, that you're like, okay, I'm not going to miss this ever again.
And interestingly, when he leaves sometimes, like he'll get there and he can't walk super well. His balance, obviously, we work on some balance things. But when he leaves, a lot of the times his walking.
Better.
Yeah, his walking's better and it's improved. And what did you weigh when you started? Like 220 around there, right? You were chubbers a little bit.
I was a little chunky monkey.
And tell him what you used to. So Sandy would enjoy.
Ample carriage.
What would you do before he'd come? So before.
I'd stop at Dunkin'
Donuts
and eat three donuts and one of those sugar-filled.
Those big-ass sugar drinks.
It's horrible. So I was on maybe a sugar high by the time I got there.
And then he'd be burping and almost throwing up. And I'm like, did you go eat? And he's like, I had to have my donut. I'm like, you cannot eat like this. So you've lost probably 30, 40 pounds in the past 5 years.
A lot of days I would go.
Oh, afterwards.
After workout, I go right to Arby's or
Mr. Hero.
Mr. Hero's fantastic.
Roman Burger.
Roman Burger, best burger, hands down.
So he'd go Roman Burger, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was his thing. Or Chick-fil-A, but you stopped going to Chick-fil-A.
After workout, I'd go and eat this shit.
He'd eat this crap every time. I'm like, you can't eat like this. And he's like, I don't feel good.
Doing that.
I'm like, no shit.
I only have fast food.
Once in a while.
Yeah. And it's usually Mr. Hero.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You could be a spokesperson, Mr.
I'm
Hero.
very burpy and gassy, and I used to try and hold it.
Oh, yeah. Now, so no.
But now it's just...
He farts, he burps.
I don't
You do fart. You have.
No.
Yes, you have. Oh, my God, you have. When we've done the stretches on the ground, you have.
I don't think so.
Yes, you have. When I pulled your heels to your butt the one time. One time.
It's certainly possible.
I agree.
It happens a lot, and I don't really have a whole lot of control.
He eats this crappy cereal that he raves about, which I think tastes like cardboard, this kashi. It's not good, but whatever. So he drinks it. I know it's healthy, which is good for you. So he's like, I might be farting, burping, whatever. So he comes, which I don't give a crap. He comes the one day to the house, and he's like, can I use your bathroom? And I'm like, what's going to go on there? And he's like, I have to go. And I'm like, well, okay.
And I go,
He always goes to the
pee a
bathroom.
lot.
He does, which is fine.
Small bladder. But
Yeah, he does.
this time
I asked
was,
him if he's pregnant.
oh boy.
Oh, this time was ridiculous. So he's in the bathroom
Yeah,
forever.
she's waiting outside, and I'm in there for what? And it's a disaster. I mean, I destroyed her bathroom.
Destroyed is an understatement.
Absolutely wrecked the buffet at the Hero Club. That's
Did anybody see the
That's a
movie
life.
Friday? It was the movie Friday. When he's in the bathroom, the guy from Friday, and he's like, "Don't go in there for the next."
Oh,
day."
yeah.
yeah. That was.
or
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was. No, the Hero Club was Beverly Hills Cop, Eddie Murphy. That's just a term that me and a friend described. When you go and blow out the can, you go, "Oh, I just wrecked the buffet at the Hero Club this morning."
My God.
It's just a way to say what you did instead of offending people. So, "Oh, God, I just freaking blew out the can." But that's what I did
He did it in my
in
house.
her house.
He was in there
and-
for 20 minutes,
Okay, it
flushing
was-
the toilet. Oh
and
my God, how
it-
many times?
It was horrible. Well, first of all, it
He
was,
clogged it up.
I did. Not only
It
did I take a
was
dump
terrible.
and stink up the place, it was like a baby's arm holding an apple in the toilet. It was nasty. So I clogged the toilet. And
I'm like
"Oh
yelling,
my
"Are you
God,
okay?"
what
I'm
am I
like,
doing?
what is?
I cleaned everything up.
He did. He's got the plunger.
And then I walked out. I shut the door and I said, "Do not go in there," for probably another day or so. It was awful.
Oh yeah, it was.
I
Bad.
just said, "Look, there's no way to sugarcoat this. I'm just going to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
I blew out your can. I clogged the toilet. It stinks. I'm just going to tell you what happened." And she just laughed, and
So I said,
I laughed, and
"You keep the kashi to a minimum when you come to my house."
that wasn't even the kashi. That was just
It wasn't. Oh, I thought it was the kashi.
No, the kashi I didn't start eating till last summer,
So gross.
and so I had issues before that.
Yeah. So he's had
And
bathroom
now
issues.
the kashi is, whoo.
Yeah. So I
Well,
tell him not every day to eat the kashi.
I've got a whole lot of bathroom issues stories that I'm going to share in another podcast. And
So he decided we wanted the family to start coming a little bit so his family could see how hard he works out. So he brought his daughter Madison, who's lovely and lives in London, and they came. She came in, and Sandy's like, "I'm going to bring her just so she can see." So I think Sandy worked hard that day. I beat red, whatever, and Madison kept looking at him, and she's like, "Wow, Dad, this is amazing." I mean, and all the things he can do, with his balance, it's obviously it's off a little bit, but he touches his toes and he walks out to a plank and he could do all these things, and he goes to his forearms, to his palms, just a lot of body weight things that I try to do with him. And I think she was just amazed, and she felt better about him working out so hard, and she gave me a hug and thanked me. And then he brings Xander. So
I'm pretty, well, I know, I'm pretty sure, I know I was doing it to try and impress her.
yeah, and you were trying to impress her,
And
but he did. I mean, and he really worked. He did.
But I was doing
Yeah, you did great.
more than she was doing.
And then Xander
And
comes
she's in shape.
and I said, "Well, how hard?" And he's like, "Oh, I work out." And I'm like, "Okay." Well, then the Xander story.
Halfway through, he
He's
went in
throwing
the
up.
bathroom and just started
Now he's throwing up.
throwing up a bunch. Now,
He did eat mac
in
and
his
cheese.
defense,
He did. He had mac and cheese before he
I
came.
dragged
So
his ass there.
you did. You yelled at him and said, "I agree."
And he didn't realize he had eaten a whole thing of Stouffer's mac and cheese.
Yes, before
an
he
hour
came.
Before.
Yeah, so he threw up.
So-
But I don't think he thought it would be as hard as it was.
No,
either.
I guarantee he didn't. But
Yeah.
and I know he can handle it, but it just again, I didn't know he was.
So he
eating,
came, and then his wife, Mary Beth's come several times. And again, she's lovely, and I think she's surprised with everything that Sandy can do. The only one we haven't gotten here yet is Isabel.
I worry about you and Mary Beth together.
Oh, yeah.
We go on a walk, and I sit and stretch, and those two are
Walking and chatting
walking
away.
away. I'm like, oh boy,
And we got along very well, which
Yes.
Sandy knew. Our personalities are the same.
yes, very, very
So,
similar.
yeah, so
You know, I
met
just
the
noticed.
family. Huh. Our Cedar Point shirts that we have on?
Yes,
Yeah.
our
we look
matching
like-
shirts.
We're
We didn't-
Cedar Point
we
twins.
did not-
we didn't plan this
we
either,
didn't plan
which
it.
is sad.
I
This is
usually
almost
wear
embarrassing,
black.
and I wear black.
Usually
He knows.
black. I decided this morning, oh,
The Cedar
I'm
Point
gonna wear
twins.
gray.
So my eyes aren't too great, so I'll be honest.
Helping a lot of people in your work. you do.
Yes.
Um,
How?
and how am I helping?
Well,
Oh. Go ahead.
No, you. I mean, well, I'm gonna, and I know I try to keep this lighthearted, but I do want to say this little story about Sandy. So, once his diagnosis,
I
you
know
know the
this
story
one.
I'm going to tell. Yeah. So he got the diagnosis, and I had trained somebody with ALS, and John was 40 years old with ALS, and I wanted Sandy to meet him because obviously people with ALS, you know, it's a hard life, and John couldn't communicate with me except through texting. He couldn't talk, he couldn't walk, and he lived out in Parma, and I would go to their house 3 days a week to train him. John
He
is,
even started
yeah,
texting me.
and John started.
Which is
So I introduced Sandy. So I brought Sandy to this
amazing.
man's house because I wanted Sandy to see this guy couldn't communicate with me at all. There was no communication. It was all eyes. He couldn't talk, nothing. So I said, Sandy, I want you to come meet John. You know, he has a terrible illness. So Sandy came to the house.
It was alarming. She told me about it until you sit there and experience it. Wow.
So Sandy came, and I think it was a big moment for him that it kind of bumped up his exercise then. He saw John fighting, and John and him became friends via Facebook, and I think it made a big difference.
It did. I remember bringing over my Theragun, massage gun that's pretty violent. But
Yeah.
it's wonderful. I jam into my legs most mornings, and so he could use it. He ended up getting one, so I think
Yeah.
was very helpful to him,
And
and I think he appreciated it. I certainly enjoyed talking and watching, except the one part where his wife was stinging him with bees.
oh yeah, he did bee sting therapy.
Yes.
So she would sting him with bees.
Never knew that was a thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I'd do it if I could, but I'm allergic to bees. So
Yeah, I forgot about that.
That'd be bad.
But I did bring Sandy there so Sandy can meet some of my other clients to see. And he knows there's lots of clients that I train that have lots of issues. And Sandy has met them in passing. And I think Sandy's motivational to them. People are listening to the podcast. They are appreciative that he's doing this. I told Sandy my belief is this gives him a sense of purpose and it's helping people. And,
does.
you know, we'd love to see him do the exercises too because I think it's very important.
And we are going to post something at some point, a video of me
You
working
working out,
out
yeah.
with Tonya, so people can actually see what I can do, and I'm hoping that'll inspire others, especially people with MSA. Don't watch those dumb videos, but inspire other people, because you know what? I have what they call supposed to be a terminal illness. What's your fucking excuse? Get off your ass. Stop eating food. Stop eating shitty food. Eat once in a while. Get off your damn ass and move.
Yeah. I mean, and he does every day.
If
and
you're
like I
able to
say-
move.
And
I have a difficult time, but I'm fucking doing it. So can you. No excuses.
And even some of my new clients that come, I have my videos of him and they'll make excuses for themselves. And I'm like, I just want to show you this video. And then I show and I explain the story and I explain the illness. And they're like, holy shit, this guy's doing this? And I'm like, yeah, he's doing it. You guys can. With anybody I train, there's no excuse for anyone. And it's, you know, it's lovely. We have a great time together. Talk politics. We talk movies. Don't really agree on the same music. Oh, Sandy would, so I knew Sandy's been in dark place lots of times, and I'd get 3 a.m. these terrible Pink Floyd, these videos, and I'm like, what is he doing? And it's 3 a.m. and he's sending me these. Now he calls it good music.
There's
I don't.
good
You
music.
like it. I think
Pink
it's garbage.
Floyd.
I just don't like it. I can't.
Comfortably numb on the
it's
turning
just-
away.
it's so-
The dark side of the moon.
Yeah, it's depressing to me. I can't listen to this.
It's
So
wonderful.
he sends it to me, and I'm like, what is this? And he's like, I sent that to you? And I'm like, oh, my God. So he wouldn't even remember sometimes, but he was in bad place. But then sometimes when you're in a good place, you send me music, too. So it's not always
I have a
bad
very
place.
eclectic
Yes.
musical taste, ranging from Yanni,
Yeah.
who I love, to Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
from
Not your hip hop.
Barry White and Marvin Gaye to NWA. I love it all.
Now, I will
and
say
everything
this.
in between.
We play music at my house. And this guy, I don't know how he knows every single song you do know, from 80s, 90s rock I'm like, who's the group? Who's every single one? He
Yes.
could be on one of those shows where you tell.
I absolutely could
Yes,
be.
yes, he
I've
is
had a
very,
lot of
very,
people,
very
a
talented.
lot of people try and stump me. I
Yeah,
have a lot of
like people
useless
you've never heard.
knowledge.
Yes, he
Never going to
does.
make me money, but they'll say, "Who sings this song?" And bam.
Yeah,
And they're
he
like,
knows. He knows
"Ooh,
right away.
did you know that?"
Yeah, he does. He knows right
And
away.
I know lead singers of these bands too.
Oh yeah, you
Uh,
do. How you know that? I
One
don't
friend
know.
was like, "Who sings this song?" It was "She's a Beauty." I go, "The Tubes." He goes, "All right, how about this? What's the lead singer of the Tubes' name?" I go, "Fee Waybill." He's like, "Oh,
Yeah, he
I mean,
does know
who
that.
knows that shit?"
Yeah, he
I
knows all
do.
kinds of obscure crap.
It's weird,
Yeah,
but
it is weird.
it's funny.
Yeah.
So,
So we'd like to do that.
oh boy,
Bad place.
where would I be without Tonya? It's hard to describe. I think I would be where John was with ALS. Unfortunately, he passed away. That again hit me and made me want to keep moving and keep fighting physically. And it's been amazing. I mean, she's been one of the most important people in my life. Obviously, my wife and my children are, but she's right there. It's hard to describe. So, I would recommend to anyone give her a call, email, look on her website. You won't regret it.
Yeah,
So
I enjoy
it's-
him. Except he hates
and-
the gliders.
And she's fun. Oh, those suck.
Yeah. He does do one exercise. The only thing that he ever bitches about, I have these gliders. Put him on the floor for his feet, and his balance isn't great, but he does
I
it.
got to stand up at
Yeah,
a
he's got
plank
a plank,
with these little
things on his
things,
feet,
my
and
feet,
he
my
moves
toes,
back
and
and
go
forth
back
and does.
forth. It's
Oh, and I think that's the worst thing that he
sucks.
does. So he always says he's going to hide them and steal them from me.
Yes.
And I'm never going to find them again. But besides that, we have a good time. And every day's, it's a struggle. I don't know what I'm going to get sometimes with him. And sometimes we have to perk his mood up. And, he didn't sleep good. He didn't have a
Yeah.
good night. And I try to do my best to motivate you.
There's only been a few times where I showed up and was just
Yeah, it's bad.
bad.
Yeah.
Where I just
Yeah.
one day I was riding a bike and I just started crying.
Yeah.
Um,
And those are the days I don't like, but I'm like, snap out of it. We got to.
But I always feel better
He feels better when he leaves.
when I leave.
Yeah.
And so that's my incentive to keep going.
Yeah. I love
know
having him there.
I know I always feel better when I do it. And when I don't go to her again, when I'm in Florida or somewhere else, or for some reason she's not available, it's just not the same.
And when he's away, I'm texting him and telling him,
Yeah.
you better move your ass.
Get
You
your
better
ass
get your
moving."
ass up. Are you up? That's what I'll send him.
And-
Are you up? Are you okay? Get your ass going.
And I do.
And he does. He does.
I do.
Yeah.
One other thing that we're going to add, sort of a link to the website, email, social media, is another, what's it called? This
The
is the
Sabrina
lady
Noel.
that you
Yeah.
train, her daughter, Sabrina Noel Dupree. I think it's called Sabrina
Sabrina Noel
Noel
Foundation.
We'll put a link there. It's for mental health.
She's a local woman.
Her
Her daughter,
Go ahead.
I can
Oh,
say,
yeah.
I can say. So she's a local woman, Bay Village. Her daughter committed suicide last year, 17 years old in high school, and she's a good friend of mine. And that touched Sandy as well with the struggles. And so she's created her own foundation, her mom.
Tragic. So
Yeah, so
if we can help
try to help her out.
raise money and awareness for that organization, because again, this disease that I have is awful, but I think the mental health, the anxiety and depression are a lot worse. Oh, my phone's ringing. Sorry. Are a lot worse because those were constant for a long time, and the disease is constant as well.
But we think through exercise and
yes.
trying to stay positive and trying to
Exercise,
do meditation, and
meditating, eating better. Who
it
knew?
helps. Yeah.
And not drinking as much. Who knew that would make you feel better?
And that can help
Would have
anybody.
been help
Just not
30 years ago
yeah.
to know that
that you'd be
exercise,
like this.
meditation, not
Yeah.
drinking so much.
And you actually enjoy
Yeah.
exercise now.
I do.
Yeah. You look forward to it.
I have to do it. I don't really have a choice. So, for everyone else sitting on your ass, eat one less shitty meal. Drink more water. Don't drink so much booze. And exercise. If
Get
you are
fresh air.
capable, yes, that's wonderful. I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's
Start our walks
It's March
again.
1st.
Yep.
It's almost spring, so I want to get out and walk.
Yep. Fresh air. Fresh air, some sunshine.
Yes, makes me feel better.
Yep.
So,
Thank you for having me on. This was very nice.
thank you for coming. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
And
Hope to do some workout videos so everybody
yes,
can see.
we will do that. Again, we're going to be posting a lot of stuff, but and the website's not up yet, but I'm going to have that done soon. The email is up if anyone wants to send. It's the Sandy Hahn podcast at gmail.com. And love to hear from you. And I think we're done. So
Thanks, Sandy.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tonya. Take care, guys.